This conference will now be recorded.
Let me know if you guys can see my screen. Yeah. So let's just know a bit about Tosca architecture. So if I just have to put it across this way, that how exactly Tosca is designed and it works, or different services of Tosca works, so that we can perform different kind of operations when it comes to Tosca. So this is going to be a very brief introduction about it, because I'm sure you are not going to understand everything about it right away, because we have started from a very initial level, right? So just consider this Tosca commander as your most key and the important topic for now, which we are going to start with. That's nothing but Tosca commander. In UI, it looks something like this. Okay, that would be the Tosca commander, which would interact with the tester, which would be you, and help testers to automate the applications, right? So that would be Tosca commander. So what all things would be included within which? So one would be, first and most important thing would be T-box. T-box is nothing but own engine which supported by the Tosca, which would allow you to perform various operations within Tosca. For example, if you are working with Selenium, you import some basic libraries in Selenium, right? If you work with anything, like even if you are installing some software like Eclipse or anything, if you remember, you also need to install that C++ files or application as well. So what exactly it is, it actually allow the Java engine to work with Selenium, so that you can interact with it, right? In a simple language, if I have to speak, is that in your house you speak the language that you understand, correct? Let's say if I drop some person speaking Dutch inside your house, and even if he's communicating to you, will you be able to understand what exactly he's speaking? So even if he is being part of your house and your family, you cannot understand what exactly is speaking, because there is nothing communication which is there, which can establish the connection between you and that person. So that to get onto that, Tosca has its own engine, which is nothing but T-box engine, and which would allow you to import the basic Tosca modules inside your workspace, which can be handy to you to automate the test cases. For example, to automate any application, your first step would be to open that application on your browser, correct? Let's say if I have to automate google.com, first I need to open the Chrome and I need to open google.com. So this kind of operations you can perform within window operations. Got it? Or you need to open the URL, you can open that URL within the various engines, which would be XML or anything. Some people ask me, I have an SAP project. Okay, mate, no worries, all of these SAP modules can be utilized from here. So the basic modules of SAP or anything can be um, heritated from here, and then rest of the screens you can scan by yourself and perform the operations, for example. Okay, so that will take it into the further session, but that's what the T-box would be. Okay, so T-box is nothing but an engine which would allow Tosca commander to integrate with or to communicate with end user, which will be you as a tester, correct? Any questions so far? Anything you feel like I'm going too fast, or anything which you think like, "Hey, I'm not getting anything at all," please feel free to speak up. All right, I'll take that silence as no. um, so that would be T-box. Moving on, data integrity. Name itself indicates whatever data operations that you're going to perform, which we discussed yesterday, right? TDS and everything. So all of this would be communicating to this ODBC HTTPS service, which would further be integrating to data integrity. So precisely here on the Tosca commander, like you see, this is the Tosca commander and it is part of data integrity. So you can see um, this TCD section, right, which would help you to understand and fetch everything related to the data, right? This is the one that I'm talking about. So all of this data should be stored somewhere. That would be this data integrity. All right. So any data which you are interacting with Tosca commander would be coming and fetching from these two services. Okay. This would be OSV add-in. OSV is nothing but it is a advanced plugin which Tosca provides, which would help you to integrate different services with Tosca. So if you could just see here, this T-box is further integrated and brought it back right here. And these all are the different tools. You can see this Qtest, SAP, then this is the execution grid. So basically, if you want to integrate Tosca with some other tool, you can get that thing done with this.
Hey, I'm not able to hear anything. I think you're speaking on mute.
Can you hear me?
Now I can.
Oh, I think,
From
okay.
last few minutes you were on mute.
All right, all right. I'll just repeat myself. Probably some
Thank
network
you.
glitch.
Yeah.
Cool. So moving on to licensed tire. Licensed tire would nothing but, as you all guys know, that Tosca is not a freeware tool, correct? So for any license that needed to be configured, and unless and until your license is configured, you cannot use Tosca. Okay. So for that sake, you would need to configure your license. So it either cloud license or on-premise license. Now, what's the difference between cloud and on-premise license? On-premise license is sort of local license. Okay, so for that matter, like antivirus, correct? So if you have some antivirus code, if you install that in your machine, you cannot utilize the same code for some other machine, right? So that is called on-premise. I hope you guys are aware how antivirus installation and the key would be installed, right? If not, feel free to speak. Okay, that I don't know what it is. I'll definitely tell you. Okay, but that is what would be the on-premise, which is nothing but any key or anything which you are putting it locally on your machine and which can only be utilized on that particular machine unless it is expired. Okay, whereas cloud license would be something which you can fetch at a runtime and you can release at a runtime. So for example, you can see these are different type of license. You can see one is the cloud license, one is the self-hosted license, and one is the license from my local machine. So local machine is something which, like I mentioned, you put here a particular code for yourself, and then that particular license would be configured for yourself, you. Okay. Apart from that, if I'm going for the cloud license, then it has to be something which would be fetched by you on terms of the credentials. So everything would be given to you. Like you can see this particular cloud license I can fetch, and all of these options are enabled to me. That means this license is the cloud license which I can use for myself. Okay, suppose one of my friend want to utilize this license, I can simply leave this license, and this same person can utilize the same license on his machine. So no doubt at a time only one person can access this license. But the good thing is, suppose I'm working in a day shift, at least in a night shift some other person can reuse that same license and work for himself. Unless in on-premise license, once it is configured on one machine, it can only be utilized on that same machine. Are you guys clear with the difference?
Yeah.
Okay, all right, I'm glad. So that's how this, you can see this on-premise license server, and this is cloud hosted license server. Okay, so these two interact to Tosca Commander. Whichever license you would be granted to you would be fetched by the Tosca Commander. So right now the license that will be given to you once you confirm the seat would be on-premise license, because it's on the local host. We are not using any shared workspace or anything. So you would be granted an on-premise license, which would be installed into your laptop or your desktop, whichever you are using. Make sure that whichever laptop you are using is having at least 8 GB of RAM and at least 256 GB of your hard disk. If not, your machine will be very slow after installation of Tosca. Heads up. Okay, because at the end of the session I'm going to tell you how to install the Tosca. So the next session we would directly configure the licenses and we'll actually start the scripting part. Okay, so just a heads up. All right, I think our next session is going to happen on Monday directly. Okay, so you guys will get some time to arrange your laptops if you don't have that kind of a hardware available with you. Okay. Next would be agents tier, like I mentioned earlier, the distributed.
Uh, can you repeat the requirement? What was that?
At
256
least 8 GB of RAM
RAM.
and at least 128 to 256 GB of hard disk, which wouldn't be full. Don't consider it like you have 256 GB, but almost most of it is full, so that won't be helpful
Okay,
to
it
you.
should be at least 256 GB should be empty, right? Space should be
At
there.
least 256 GB of internal memory you should have. Empty
Mm-hmm.
should be at least half of it, so 120, at least
Oh,
100 GB of empty memory. But the most important thing is 8 GB to 16 GB RAM, and make sure your processor is new enough, not i3 or something, at least i5 and above.
okay.
Again, I'm repeating myself, if you have i3, it is not like Tosca is not going to work, but it is going to work very slow. Okay, because Tosca is a very heavy software, and to make it run smoothly it would need this kind of a heavy hardware requirement. Okay. All right, moving on. Agents tier, which is nothing but, like we discussed yesterday, distributed execution. So whichever active agents we have on the same network, we can get those utilized for the distributed execution, and our test cases would be distributed amongst all the active agents. Okay, so that is nothing but agents tier, which communicates. So these are the service IDs through which these different services interact with Tosca Commander. Okay, now it's on a very deep level. I'm not expecting you guys to by heart remember all of these things, but going down the line, when you will reach at a level where you are very good at Tosca, you should remember all of these services. Cool, but it's not necessary right now. And this is the most important and key thing, which is Tosca server. So various different features which Tosca provide are coming through this Tosca server, which is nothing but, like I said, This test data service, the one we discussed yesterday, the individual data structure which Tosca provides, where you can store your own data and fetch it when your scripts at a runtime. That is TDS, which is test data service. Then this is Dex server. Then this is Dex monitor. To monitor all of these Dex services, you would need this Dex monitor. So all the services which Tosca provide or this commander interacts with are coming from this Tosca server. Okay. Again, if you don't want to utilize Dex and you have Jenkins or any other things in picture, so you want Tosca to interact with Jenkins, so you would need a CI. So Tosca CI is nothing but a tool which you would need to integrate any other tool with Tosca. Okay, so you can see this Tosca CI client which is helping you to get it interacted with CI CD pipeline. Okay, so any other external software or any tool which you want Tosca to interact with, you would need Tosca CI as a part of a interacting agent. Any doubts so far here? Because rest of the topics, I mean things on this diagram, I would rather be taking later on, because right now you're not going to understand that, and I don't want to create any excessive confusion right here. So any doubt here, what is happening, how things are happening, you're not able to understand anything? Simply this Tosca server is nothing but, just to recall, you can see here API. See here you can see API. Here you can see this test data service. Here you can see this exploratory testing, license administration. So everything as it is you can see on this Tosca command. Okay. Come on, dude. Yep. You can see this API. You can see this test case design. You can see this what is it, exploratory scenario, right? So all of this, I mean, what I mean to say is this is front end. You click here, but whatever actions are being happening. So what is happening? This, you can see this processing. What is happening right now? This Tosca commander is trying to interact with this with Tosca server for this particular service. Okay, now right now this exploratory testing service. So that's how this is under process, like that. You got it? That's what happening. So this image is nothing but this is what I'm showing to you on the front end, which happens. How it happens in the back end is something which this is elaborating us in terms of a pictorial format. Makes things easier or still have some confusion here?
No confusion.
Okay, all right, I'm glad to know. So yesterday I have given you a quick overview that how different modules and sections of Tosca are forming and interacting with each other. But today we are going to create one sample test case, very easy and convenient, just to understand how Tosca works, how a test case can be formed, and how convenient it is than any other automation tool. Okay, and at the end of the session I'll tell you how to install Tosca in your machines, and the next session we will install or configure the licenses for you guys. Okay, just a heads up, since licensing is something which can only be provided once you confirm your admission, so if you have to make a decision, you have to make it until Monday, because on Monday I am actually going to start the full-fledged automation where you guys will be also be actively involved with whatever I'm showing it to you as a part of automation. You guys would be doing it by yourself. Okay, so just a heads up. All right, so quickly get started. So any Tosca commander, do you know check-in and check-out mechanism? Any one of you? Have you ever heard of it? Anyone?
Yeah, I've heard, but I'm not sure what exactly. I think you have to every time check out to save your changes or something like that.
That's point number two, but I'll just explain it other way around. Okay, you guys can see my paint screen, right?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So let's say that we are working on multi-user workspace. Okay, now what is multi-user workspace? Multi-user workspace is something where we all can access the same thing, and whatever work that we are doing can be saved and can be seen by others as well at the same time. Okay, which is nothing but multi-user workspace. So for example, now this girl who's talking, Anjali, I believe. Okay, Anjali has created some piece of test case here. Okay, and let's call it as Anjali. Okay, and let's say by myself I'm creating some piece right here. Okay, now what's happening, I feel that what Anjali has done in her test case, I can utilize the same thing in my next test case as it is, so that it will save my efforts and I don't need to spend extra efforts on that, and it will also can be reused. Correct? So what I would ask, but let's say that what Anjali is doing, if I would fetch that and Anjali would make some changes on that, so whatever thing that I have used would be useless for me, right? Because Anjali has already made changes on top of it. Correct? What I'm talking is making sense to you?
Yeah.
So what is happening, this check-in and check-out mechanism is something is that, let's say Anjali is working on these 10 things here. Okay, but out of these 5 things, let's say these 2 things she has done. So the moment she's completed working on this, she will check in these things. So whatever changes that she has made on these 2 things would be live on the workspace and can be accessed and seen by every one of us which who are working on her team. But let's say rest of the 3 things she is still working, so she will make sure that all these 3 items are still checked out by her, because she is still making the changes on top of it, so that me or any other person who wants to utilize these things, they can see that red in color, because those things are checked out by Anjali, so they can understand that, hey, Anjali is still making some changes on top of it, I shouldn't fetch those as it is. I can fetch these two because these two are already checked in by Anjali, because she is no longer making any changes to it. So it is an advisable and must or mandatory thing in Tosca. Whichever item you are working on, you need to right click on it and you need to check out by yourself. Okay, so let's say that if I'm going to show you how to scan the module, I would right click on that particular thing and you can see this checkout and checkout tree options. If you check out, you will only check out this particular folder. You can see the color, this green color, that means it is checked out by me. Okay, so if somebody else will come here, he can see this is red in color because this is green for me. And if I would do it check out tree, it will check out every single object inside that particular folder. You can see all of these things are turned green. So no one else can make any changes to this folder because I have already checked it out. Clear with the funda of check in and check out?
Yes.
Any silly question is also welcome. Don't consider anything silly because there is nothing silly in this world.
So what is the
Okay.
option to check? No, since we have checked out now, since we have done, and after that, suppose we have done some changes. So
Okay.
how we can check in?
So you can see this option check in all. So all the changes that you have made would be um, shared on the cloud, uploaded on the cloud, and somebody else wants to check those changes. He just need to go and click on update all. So all the changes that somebody else must have made, I can get the updated copy of it and I can see all of those changes.
What about if you want to check in only one particular folder?
You cannot do that. You have to check in the entire piece of a, so it might possible that you have checked out here, or you might have checked out one test case. Okay,
Correct.
so there are multiple things you might have checked out, right? Like this. So I've checked out one module, I have checked out one test case, like that. So but it
Hmm.
might possible that the module that you are using here must have been, it might possible that it could have been used in this test case also, correct? So that's the reason Tosca doesn't allow you to check in individual object. It allow you to check out individual object. You can see here checkout option is there, but for check in you have to check in the entire workspace.
Okay.
The reason behind that is this, that it might possible that there could have been any relation or that usage of that particular control or that attribute in some other test case or any other module as well. So to get that mapped, you have to have all the references uploaded on the cloud at the same time. That's why it allows you to check in all only. You cannot check in a particular folder. Okay, it is little confusing. Check in, you go with in and you feel like check in means actually taking the control and check out means losing the control. But it is exactly vice versa. Check out means taking the control and check in means leaving the control. Okay, so don't get confused in that.
I got it. Now let's consider we have checked out one particular module for work to work on it, and then if we want to check in that particular folder, so what you have to do is click again on check in all, or we have to
Yeah,
check out
that's the only
everything.
option you have. Once you click on check in all, it will
Hmm.
check in everything, not just module. It will check in the test case also.
But other
If you
modules
have
are already checked in, right? That are already in use by some other user. Let's consider we have to work on one particular module only, and we are checking in that module only. We are checking out that
checking in, okay, checking out that module only.
that
Okay.
module. Yeah. And then if we want now only now we are working on only one module. Okay. So now what we
Mhm.
have to do is again check in all. Doesn't matter it is one module or multiple modules.
Correct. So basically, this is a best practice that it is always recommended that whichever the specific thing you are working on, you should only check out that particular thing. So nobody else's work would be hampered. For
So
example,
just one
uh,
last question. So
yeah,
before
yeah, go ahead.
checking before clicking on check in all, do we have to check out tree or something like that?
No, 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 no,
No,
no,
right?
not necessary. See, for example, I'll just show you. Okay, suppose I'm working on this module. Okay, then I'm also working on this module. Okay, and these two modules I am utilizing in this test case. Suppose. Okay, that's the scenario here. Now, reason being, suppose I'm done with the changes that I had to make here. So only option that I have, because see, maybe this test case only you are working on this, but it might possible at least this module somebody else would need it to be worked for. So to leave the control from this, you have the only option, that is check in all, which will you see has released all the controls from that module also and from this test case also. Okay,
Yeah, got it.
all right,
But
just don't
suppose
get
suppose in the meantime somebody other have worked on some other test cases or something, and they have updated that and checked in, and then when I'm again checking in, those will again get overridden. So by the
So
previous
basically what
version.
happens if, let's say that now this is the updated copy of my workspace. Okay, now here it's not checked out, but maybe half an hour later somebody else started to work on it. Okay, but now you cannot see the red one because you have not updated all the workspace. So the moment you will right click on this, so it will stop you to check out that it is already checked out by somebody else, like that error it will get. So two people cannot make changes on the same module at the same time. Does that answer your question?
Yeah. Okay. Sure. Thank you.
All right. Anyone else? These are very basic mechanisms. but these are very important. I'm spending time on it. Hope this is clear so far.
Yes.
All right. Then the next more important feature which Tosca has is like, because you see, I have plenty of modules here, I have plenty of test cases, and I have worked on some projects where we have designed like 8,000, 9,000 test cases. So each case would have somewhere around 25 to 30 modules. Now you can see how many modules I must be having after ending up with 9,000 test cases. So you have so many things, so it is very difficult to find a particular module or test case. So for that case, Tosca has one thing which is called as unique ID. Okay, so any control you take, be it temp, anything, you take module, you take execution list, or anything, you take any attribute on the Tosca, you will find this in the property which is called as unique ID. Okay, this one. Okay, so what you need to do to find that particular thing, like let's say, hey Anjali, I need this module of yours, I know you have scanned that, I need to work on it, can you just tell me which one is it? So what would she do? Instead of telling her go to that module, go to that folder, then that folder, instead she'll just go here, she'll just copyright this, okay, and she'll send it to me. And how would I find it? I would simply go to object, I'll put that node path here, and I'll jump, it will directly take me to that particular control. Okay, so this is unique ID. So it might possible people might ask you, hey, tell me the unique ID of that control or that execution list. So this is what you need to provide. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So I'm just telling you some basic features. Rest all we can continue with the list later on in different certifications where you would actually need it. These are the different sections that we discussed: test cases, execution list, and the modules. So these three are the ones that you're going to use the most. And for data, you're going to use TCD. So for now, this test planning and reporting is something we are not going to do right away. We'll do it down the line. Okay. But Tosca can also be used as a test management tool, like how you do in QC or something. Because let's say one of my script failed. Okay. Let's say one of my this script failed. So I can simply raise an issue against it. Okay. So let's say if now it is not checked out. Now suppose this test case is failed, I can raise an issue against it, I mean defect. Okay, you can see this new defect, and that defect will be mapped with the test case, like how we do it in QC and Jira also, right? If you remember, we raise a Jira ID or any defect against it and we map with the user story or something like that. You guys must be aware of it. Anyone who's not aware of that? Yeah, I'll take it as yes, you guys are aware. So that's how you can do it in Tosca also. But there are very few organizations who use Tosca for test management. They rather prefer to use it for test automation. Okay, so definitely we'll cover all of these things, but this won't be the focus to us because I would be more keen on the technical side where you actually design your test scripts. Okay, so those are the sections of Tosca. Import subset and export subset, very important. Let's say that Anjali has designed some test case, okay, which somebody else want to utilize, but he's working on some different project who cannot access this particular workspace. Got it? This is the scenario. Or Anjali has to send some, I mean, she has designed some script which she wants to send to somebody for demo. Okay, maybe her manager who doesn't have Tosca. So what would she do? Let's say this is the test case that I want to send it to someone. I can simply right click on it and you can see this export subset. Okay. Every subset of Tosca would have this extension TSU, interview question. Okay. Either TCE or TSU is the subset extension for the Tosca. Okay, so you can export it, it will generate one TSU file like this, you can see here. Okay, and the person who wants to use it, he will simply go to Tosca. Okay, then he has to click on the gray folder only, because you can see this import subset option will only be enabled on the component folder. Okay, I'll just have to, I checked out and you can see this import subset option is enabled for me. I can right click on it and it will show me, so you can upload that particular TSO file. So that is nothing but import subset. So the one who wants to give would export it, and the one who wants to have it would import it. Clear? Any doubt so far? I'll take it as no.
What was the last line you said?
Okay. Export subset. Export is someone who wants to send will export, and import, someone who wants to have it or accept it will
Oh,
import. Got it?
okay, got it. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Basic.
yeah. So that's the basic thing. These are some of the menus. Again, this is the view menu. So whatever you want to see here. So let's say this is the test case. If I want to see all the columns here, right? So if I want to hide, or this is for better visibility, all of these options can be utilized. Okay, you can see I usually don't need all the columns. So this, you see all these columns are no longer needed. If you want it, you can keep it that way, but usually you need these 4 columns. If you have this column chooser here, you can choose whichever column you want. If you don't want, you can just use it that way. Okay, you can see these 4 columns usually we use. Yeah, this import, export, save, manage, again the same things which we checked earlier. Tools. So whenever we load any variable, right? So any variable, when we load, all those variable values you can see here. So this is the name of the variable. So it is nothing but how you do it in C, like a equal to 10, right? If you have to declare the variable, that's how you do it in Tosca, a equal to 10. Now it is showing the error because buffer name has to be unique, because you can see there is already one buffer with name a. So it is showing the error. Got it? So this is the variable loading, like that, how you can say it. So that variable loaded values you can see into the buffer viewer. Versioning, you all know, whenever we have different versions, we can maintain that into the versioning section. Again, this is no longer needed. API will, I have already explained to you yesterday. We'll see it more in detail once we'll get into the API. Copilot, this is a very new feature to Tosca. We'll get into that in AE1. Copilot, it is little bit on the AI side. It helps you to understand and scan the controls which are probably little difficult to scan by yourself, or maybe to play with it, but again it requires a different license. Free license will not enable you, will not enable that for you. So that is something about it. Okay, these are basic options and sections in Tosca. So we are quickly going to automate one test case so that you will feel the magic of Tosca, and then we'll quickly continue with the installation of the Tosca. Okay. Any questions so far? No, I'll take that as no. Okay. So any specific website would you like me to take up, or I can just go ahead with the demo web shop?
Take anything other than demo workshop. Come on.
Good one. Thank you. Let's take, so there's one more website which Tricentis has provided. We'll check on that. This vehicle. Someone asked this question yesterday. So this is also one of a vehicle insurance application. So for every different vehicle, it asks you different details, and accordingly it provide you the insurance plan. Okay, so that's how the application is. So for automobile, it might ask you different options, but for truck, it would ask you some different options like that. Okay, so that's how the application is. So for example, if I'm taking this one as the application, before that, once you create the workspace, like I mentioned, you would need those tbox modules. So all of these tbox modules are available into your Tosca folder, for which you would need to go to C, program files 86, Tosca projects, Tosca workspace, yes, commander, my bad, and you can see the standard.tsu. Okay, so basically whenever you create a new workspace which will not have this particular file, so for that what you need to do, you would simply go to like I mentioned, you would need to import it. So you would go to some folder, import subset, go to this particular standard.tsu and open it. Okay, so now since I already have it, it is saying that you already have it, you want to merge it with the existing one, or you still want to create the new one. Okay, so this error will not come to you. So you can see all of these modules are coming right here. So inside these modules, so it has actually imported everything that I had earlier, but it will bring you all of these modules like the standard modules, which will have tbox automation tools, the engine modules, and some specific to TDS modules. Okay, so it will help you to have initial wings to automate any kind of application, like you see mobile, be it SAP, be it Excel, PDF, Oracle, some specific database, or any other website. You can have it under this. These are all related to the UI applications. Okay, this is step number 1, that you need to import the standard modules. Second most important thing is, whichever particular browser that you are going to automate, right? You can see every time I open the browser, I have this, you need to go to bookmarks. Okay, I'm sorry, extensions, and inside this extension you need to add this particular Tricentis automation extension for Chrome. Okay, now since I'm showing it for Chrome, it is showing it for Chrome as well, but if you want to have it for Edge, you can have it for Edge as well. Unless you have this extension, you cannot, or Tosca cannot interact with that particular browser. So this is must. Okay, so two things, one is standard.tsu and one is extensions. So even if you want those extensions, you can get it from program files 86. Here you will have a folder called one second, even I forget sometimes, not here for sure. But here I'm sure it is in 86 only. Oh yeah, Tricentis Tosca test suite, T-box, and here you have a folder called resources, and inside which I'll definitely share this path, and it will be there in the recording as well. Now you can see this Chrome extension, Edge extension, Firefox extension. So you can copy from here and get it dragged and dropped into your extension here. Okay, like that. Now I already have it, so it won't work, but like this you can copy it. Okay, you can see this copy is enabled here. Okay, so you can get that extension added inside your browser. So to kick off the automation, these two are the main and most important things. Okay, let's just quickly start with this one. So first and most important thing, let's create one test case for you guys. Okay, so for any application to open into the browser, the most important thing is to open the browser, right? So let's just name it like this for the reference. Correct. So the most important thing is to open the browser, right? So for the opening the browser, like I mentioned, these are the standard tools which we need, correct? So for open the browser, we can simply take a particular module that we want, and for that we can simply get it from here, which would be open URL. Okay, so you can see here, this is the one which is open URL, which is going to help me to open a particular URL into my test case. So that's how it is going to be part of my test step. So this is the module which I turned as a test step right here. Okay, here I'm going to mention the URL that we just checked right now. Okay, as a part of browser, you can see I have already declared my browser as Chrome. If you do not declare anything, it takes Internet Explorer as a by default browser. Okay, if you declare the respective browser for this test case, which one you want, then it would go for that particular browser, and this URL will be opened in that particular browser. So I'll just run it in the Scratchbook. And here you go. Okay, you can see it on the screen that I have opened this particular browser. Okay, but you can see the browser which has opened the Chrome, this window is very small and I want it as a full window. Okay, so I would simply go to the here and I would take it as the window operation. Okay, so it would be a basic window operation for me. So for that, you can see this T-box window operations. So this you will come to know once you start utilizing and using these modules. Okay. Now, name of this window, you can see it is a Tricentis vehicle insurance is the name of this window. So you have to mention this into the caption, because it might possible that you have multiple windows open. So Tosca might get confused at which one window that you want to perform this operation. So you can see these are various operations that you can perform. You can bring that window to front. Like I said, if you have multiple windows, you can bring that window to front. You can close the window. You can maximize the window. You can minimize the window. You can, wait for closing the window. You can resize the window, whichever you want, like that. Okay. So right now I'm looking to maximize the window and I put it as a Tricentis and I'm waiting for it, and you can see it has maximized the window, and you can see my Chrome, it has opened the window with a full-fledged application. One more thing that you need to make sure every time before you initiate the automation using Tosca, that would be the percentage of your window. Okay, every time you go to the browser, you can see the zoom percentage should always be 100%. Okay, if it is not 100%, you need to mark it 100%. Got it? That's one. And second most important thing is, whenever you go to, because everyone has a different resolutions of the laptop, you make sure whenever you go to scale and layout, there is an option called scale, and this custom scaling should always be set to 100. Clear?
Yeah.
If it is not like this, what will happen? Tosca will, the click operation will perform differently. Like let's say that I want to click on some one control, but it will click on some other control, like that. Okay, which we don't want to happen. So for that, this is the precaution that we need to take. Okay, I think we have little overshoot the time, so we'll continue this flow tomorrow. All right. But before that, what you guys need to do is you would need to go to, of course, you would need to make sure that you confirm your seat within the next couple of days. And until then, what you need to do is you would need to go to Tricentis. One second. Loads. I'll just directly share you the URL. Yep, like this. Exactly, I'm spot on. So here you see Tricentis Tosca, right? I'll just copy this URL on the chat. You can open it. And here, just pay attention here, don't rush to open it. Here, the moment you click on Tricentis Tosca, these are the latest versions of Tosca available for you. Okay, you can take either one of these two, last two. Okay, either 2024.1 or 2024.2. Okay, any one of these would be fine. It's a trial version of Tosca. Okay, you need to download it. It is more than 1.4 GB, so it is going to take you a little longer. So make sure you download it into your machines in which you're going to configure your licenses. And the next session we would utilize to configure the license, and post that we can actually start the automation. Any doubts so far in today's session? Does Tosca have numerous job opportunities in market? To answer your question, yes. Just go to LinkedIn, put Tosca. In Pune itself, you might get like 100 openings. But again, different skill set, different experience levels, and people still believe in having not having Tosca as a core automation tool. Probably you would also be having some handy experience with manual testing or some database or some other automation tool is a plus for you, right? So every organization has their own perspectives to hire a resource. So you can't just, I'm not saying it bluntly, but yes, there are openings in market. Any other question? Yes, any other question?
No.
Cool. Was it helpful today's session?
Yeah.
All right, let's
So
just
so
looking
just one
forward.
question.
Come again.
So just one question, like during interview, so does the interviewer like share his or her screen and tell the person for whose interview he or she is taking to like tell what to do or not to do, like does
I
something
I
like
do otherwise. I do otherwise. Let's say I'm interviewing you. I ask you to share your screen, and then I ask you to open a particular website, and then I ask you to, explain to me your approach and probably write a syntax into Notepad. That's how at least I interview. So I'm not sure about others.
like that person don't have Tosca installed in his machine, so
That's what I ask people to write the syntax in the Notepad. Doesn't matter if he's doing it in Tosca.
syntax as in means we are
I'll
code
tell
like
you later on down the line. The moment we'll continue with this. Like, for example, for string operations, you have some different syntaxes. For different operations, you have different syntaxes. So I at least insist people to put the syntaxes across the notepad.
Yeah. Do you provide any note for
Okay, good question. So I can provide, but apart from that, there is one thing called I'll provide you one link. Okay, because Tosca has already documented all of these topics. Okay, so you can download that PDF from Tosca Tricentis website, and whichever theory that I'm explaining to you, you can refer that one to just to keep it as a note with you handy.
Yeah.
Because providing note is little possible when it comes to the physical training, but since we are doing it online, it becomes little difficult. That's why I'm using the paint to just to elaborate concepts to you.
Okay. So, if you give us any assignment or anything, where do we
That's what.
submit?
So next Monday onwards, every day I'm going to give you some assignment. You
Yeah,
don't need to submit it. See, I just want you to loyal to yourself. Okay,
yeah.
nobody is going to. I'm more than happy to answer your questions on top of it. Okay, I just don't want to hear that I didn't get a time and I never did anything. That's what I never wanted to hear.
So, yeah, and
As
all the
long as you're coming up with queries, I'm happy to answer all of them. So it just keep it handy to you. It will help you to again brush up the concepts to you in future, or maybe help you to clear your certification exam.
so yeah, okay. So all the videos that will be uploaded, where will it be? It will be directly in the YouTube, or we'll have some platform or
No,
something.
I think I'll check that with admin, and you can access it on this go-to meeting itself. But I think you will get some credentials once you confirm your seats, where you can access all of these recordings and all.
Okay,
Okay.
okay, yeah. Hmm.
Karan, I have a query. Karan.
Yeah, yeah, sure. Go ahead.
Yeah. So now, if you see, we have very less audience today, right? So, is there any criteria to kick off the actual session?
No. There is no criteria, but the thing is, the moment we would have the licenses with us, right? I mean, if I'm teaching you something, you should also get a time to practice it by yourself, correct?
Yeah.
So you won't be able to practice it unless you have a license, and an institute cannot provide you the license unless you confirm your seat. So that's the
Yeah.
basic.
No. I'm not talking about that. I'm just talking about the audience.
Not sure about the audience, because we have, if you see today's topics, we have already started, and we have already, into it to start the or kick off the automation on the next session. So
Okay.
even if audience join or doesn't join, doesn't matter, we would still be get going, and they can
Okay.
refer. If they cannot join, they can refer the recording, and they can still get into the flow. Not a problem.
Okay. And in the entire session, we'll be automating the demo web shop, or do you have any
No,
other
we can take any
plan?
website. Okay, not a problem. Not directly SAP for sure. Let's just
Yeah.
start with the basics. Yeah, let's start with some web-based applications, and then gradually we'll get going with the desktop applications. Okay.
Okay. Sure. Yeah.
So if you, yeah, we want to extend the license after 6 months. What do we have to do?
Um, Couple of ways actually. You can still use the trial license, which you get for 2 weeks, and you can keep on creating different IDs. But I believe let's focus on getting yourself placed with some Tosca project in 6 months. Don't you
Yeah,
think that's a better idea?
yeah. In just in case if we didn't get it
No,
in within.
indeed, it's a good question though. But let's focus on the positive side than the negative one.
Okay, yeah. For the trial version, also they'll ask like business ID account, right?
Correct,
Email account.
correct. Nowadays, yeah, they are have started. So a
Yeah.
few
For
years
the
back, they used to allow Gmail IDs, but now they don't.
yeah, it doesn't allow. Yeah.
That's the problem. Any
And
other
what is the current
question?
market version, like current Tosca version available in the market?
Usually, see, it depends on the organizations, okay? Because the license support all the once you have the purchase license, it supports all the versions, okay? But what happens sometimes, like you all guys are aware, upgrading your automation tool creates a lot of issues, right? So they usually don't upgrade themselves unless you see some significant changes or upgrades in the upcoming versions. Got it? Like if you see the last version was 2023 and this one is 2024. So not much differences are there in these two. So a lot of people would prefer to stay back on the previous version than to upgrade. So it depends on the organization, that if the feature they are really looking for badly and they are the feature is going to make their life easy. If that is coming into the latest version, they are more than happy to upgrade it. But something which is not making sense to them, no any feature is going to make difference to them being on same version or the latest version, they would prefer to be on the uh, current version itself.
And what is the version we will be using in the session, like in
So
the
that's what
entire?
I show you, right? 2024 is something that I have asked you to download.
Okay, okay, okay.
Yeah, the latest one.
Yeah.
Anything else?
So
Cool.
if not this batch, when is the next batch starting?
Come again, Pranila? I didn't
How
get you.
often? How often this batch, new batch starts? Like,
I think the last batch happened 3 months back.
not about the last month, the last batch. If not joining this batch, you any idea like next batch when it is starting?
Not sure.
Okay.
Because there are a lot of factors which it is depending upon the crowd and the number of candidates, my availability and a lot of things. So okay, is there anything?